Yeah. The road actually needed to be fixed up a little bit because there's this dog that comes around and divvying the shit out of it. But the rear wheels are just spinning like crazy trying to get in and out of here. So trying to move some of the larger rock over here, level out all this mess. I really wasn't planned on this trip, so I'm a little light on tools for that. I wish I'd brought a pickaxe and probably another rake, but we're getting there. This is the beach closest to our property. This is Snow Beach. And Snow Beach is pretty cool. It has a little bit of a history. From what I gathered, the reason why this is all sandy, or at least the reason why they used this spot, I guess I'm not sure which one was first, was this was actually originally the sawmill operation. They had a big steam engine up here, and there was a big building and everything too. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll try to find some photos to punch in there. But I've seen the photos online on their one Facebook page. But yeah, Snow Beach. So it's not like deep, it's just deeper-ish here. I just threw my stuff over here. But there's a bit of a sandbar more this way. That's the water's a little bit warmer to wade out to a little bit deeper because it gets pretty chilly pretty fast. A big moment. Like four. Where that rocky outcrop is in between that like cluster of pines. Actually, you can't really see it in the GoPro. Is Snake Island. That's the point that goes out that you see that little traily highway. So I think that's Snake Island. Give you a concept of how far we are from our kind of neighborhood. Marie and I were both pretty spent after moving the gravel and whatnot for the driveway, and almost didn't come out to the beach. But I'm certainly glad that we did, because today was really kind of the last hot day of our trip. Oh, that was kind of small. A little chilly this morning. Got the propane going. And even with the steamy food and us and everything in here, I'm actually pleasantly surprised that it's not really dewy even on the roof. So that's a good thing. I did buy a giant thing of damp rid just in case to see if that would help, but I don't think we need it. So. And as I've had mentioned earlier in this episode, I think, if not, I know I mentioned it in the preceding episode, which you should check out, by the way. This trip really wasn't about doing a lot of work. Didn't even really want to do the driveway work that we got done, even though it was kind of a necessity. No, we've both been very busy, Marie especially with the project at work, and me with the many projects here on the island, and as well as at home. But I have to admit, looking back, it's amazing how many things got done on the island this season. This is day one of starting the project here, and actually the day after my birthday, which is when I arrived, was actually on June 9th. And please do forgive this kind of weird shot I have here, but this is kind of the best, most complete shot of what we have done now in the present time, in that same kind of angle. And if you're interested in any of the older shots as of when things got started, check out the first episode on my channel called Balls Block Island. My new property in Snake Island, I think is what it's titled. Leg issue or foot issue or whatever. And obviously we're not coming through the lot yet. But back here is actually surprisingly nice. It's time for inventory and to fortify this for the snow. That's really the main objective of the trip. Everything else is just kind of having fun. Working on the driveway was just kind of a bonus we kind of had to do, and I have an idea to make that work better. Do that more in the future. But right now, which you probably can't see too well, and I don't have a flashlight, is that little bump right there, little dark thing, is actually a little toad. I thought it was going to be a bat, because I've been hearing a lot of people talking about bats getting in places right now. Nope, it's a little toad. He can hang out as the guardian. Them and the giant, or him and the ginormous spiders that we have here can protect this place. But anyway, so the plan is pretty much to get everything out for the most part. go through it. I'll probably get some video and stuff, not so much for YouTube, just for when I'm planning stuff in the future, a refresher of what I have up here so I'm not having too many redundant resources. And if I'm planning a thing, I already know what resources I have versus needing to get. Logistics. I do enjoy it way too much. So yeah, that's the real plan of the day. It's cleaning all this up. And hopefully it'll stay kind of overcast and cool like this, because I'd much rather work like that, because right here I get a shit ton of sun, which is why it's going to be the solar panel area in the future. But for now, we got to clean this up. Alright, so kind of got going on here. Revamped everything I'm doing. Obviously basic offset cross member because this is in the way. There's this, really just giving more rigidity to the overall roofing because it sucks. I'll probably do another thing there after I with the saw hole. And I don't know, I'm kind of debating what to do along the back before I stick the saw in for the year. That's my biggest fear. And so much people messing with this is the snow just crushing it enough and just letting everything to get soaked with water, which is why most everything's actually in other containers and whatnot. So it should be fine even if that happens. But it would still kind of suck if this thing was completely just crumbled and full of crap and just garbage by the time spring comes. Which is why the plan is probably the next adventure will be mid-May, when it's still probably pretty chilly, and make it just like a weekend adventure to make sure all this stuff's okay, double check what we need, what we don't need, what needs to be fixed. So you know, logistically I can figure all that crap out when we come back in June to stay up here probably for a week. So that's the plan. As far as I know, there's only two cemeteries on Bas Blanc. One that's on the far side that I think is where they buried the diseased bodies back in the day. I think. I'm still researching that one. And this one, which is kind of in the proper area of the pins. And it's really rural. I mean, like, look at how hemmed in this guy is. And this is fairly newish. Yeah. Interesting. I'm going to be standing right on you guys, but nice spot. And I hear the plots are a steal of a deal, much like my lot was. No, $100. For a full-on burial service, I guess this is more like ash entombment for a lot of these people with markers, from what I understand, something like that. But they do full-on burials, but it's a bit of a thing, so they have to bring in the equipment, and then of course there's the body and what do they call it, vault and all that kind of stuff. So you're all dusty. Everything's all dusty. Oh, Captain. Yeah, I like these rock ones. These are really cool. Well, unique, I guess. Especially the ones that are like tight to the ground. Must be gone. At these ruins, is this part of a stone? It's kind of flat. Don't move it too much, because then you have like these guys look like a footing for something, but maybe they were put there for future use and they just haven't had their placard put on yet. Kind of like this guy, or monument stone thing. It's kind of all set up but not really used or entombed or whatever the proper terminology is. Yeah. Very interesting. Well, here's another one like that. Or another duo like that. Yeah. So yeah, well, I can see. Oh, it looks better. Like, dusty. And I've heard about that even before I got here, that this is a very dusty island. But what kind of sucks is I don't know if all of the transits are like this or just because the seal has definitely seen better days back here. But once we come back from driving around the island, everything back here is dusty. Like, all these cases are all dusted up. I gotta go through and de-dustify everything and definitely clean this out before I cook supper. So yeah, keep that in mind when coming here. It's a very dusty place. Even though I have a love for logistics, sometimes you overlook things, like a proper can opener. But luckily, I always carry an oversized P38 on my keychain. Another thing I wanted to talk about was this really cool camping stove that I have that has an adjustable footprint, so you can even put like really big stock pots and stuff on it, even though it's kind of a backpacker style. Except I can find no literature on it from when I bought it, and I bought it from Amazon, and there's nothing there from my past purchases because they no longer sell or stock it. And so yeah, there's really no, can't really help you guys with that one. But if you can find something like that, I highly recommend it. Another interesting kind of thing that I recommend people should have on their person or keep in their van or car is one of those. It's a pocket knife with a spoon and fork built into it. They're oddly getting harder to find. I don't know why. I always carried one when I was a kid. It's a really amazing feeling, at least for me, when vacationing on an island, is this the sense of that you really kind of were able to leave the regular world behind. You know what I mean? You're kind of isolated it from it all, detached, and you know it's just rare to be able to do that. And not like my life sucks or I have such a shitty world, but to have a true escape is something very special. I'll wedge it all in. So everything's either strapped in, strapped adjacent, kind of crossbarred, or wedged in a giant block so it all kind of holds each other as it moves. Not only for safety, but it annoys me when I hear things rattling and squeaking and popping. So, for some lunch, I'm hanging by the dock so we don't miss the ferry. Debated about putting this in or not. There was a gentleman that you're about to see here, right there, that I had overheard his kind of story, I guess, when I was at the bar. And, he's a failing health, and he was on the island because he's selling his cabin that he's had since he was in his 20s. And, you know, I don't know why, but I guess it made me think about, no matter who you are or what your life status is, in a sense, that we're all running out of time. So don't wait, do the things you want to do now.